Hello everyone, this is Peter Bomb for Australian Motorcycle News with an update from the MotoGP in Qatar. What happened on Friday? Well, a lot happened on Friday. So much else that I have a complete list. We start with the track. Here we have the racetrack. Qatar is a bit of a special track, that's why I wanted to show it here with you. Basically, it has something for every type of motorbike. So whether you have the really fast Ducati that can overtake everybody on the straight, or you have a really good handling bike. Honda nowadays is very good handling, and the Yamaha was always good handling, but don't have the top speed. You guys, all the different bikes can do a really good lap time in Qatar, but they do it in a very different way. So that's basically about the track. What is a bit special going back to the track, that it's a really long straight, starting on a second gear, ending in a second gear. You can see top speeds here from up to 360 km/h. Which make the braking here very difficult for turn 1. That has to do with all the aero that is on the bikes at the moment, and if you get sucked into the so-called dirty air, it can be really dangerous. So if you overtake another guy in the straight, usually try to do it by having a better exit, overtake him before the braking. Out-braking from the slipstream in Qatar, not something you want to do. What is quite special about Qatar is a very hard acceleration over the left hand of the rear tire out of turn 10 and 11, and then a triple right-hander, super fast combination of right-hand corners where a bike like the Honda, but especially the Yamaha, can really make the lap time. But in a race, this can be an interesting thing to see. For example, if you have a Ducati or a very fast bike, probably one of the KTMs as well, you do your overtaking on the straight, and the rest of the lap you just close the gap everywhere, turn in early, make sure nobody can overtake you, and then on the straight you open the gas completely and make sure nobody overtakes you. So you can drop the pace with a very fast bike by being not so fast over the corners. If you're on a Honda or a Yamaha and you want to be competitive in Qatar and you want to be competitive and beating others, you have to do your overtaking really in turn 1 or 2, then try to use all the corners to get away, have a little bit of a gap, and then try to survive the long straight. This is basically, in a nutshell, what happens in Qatar. So slow bikes that handle well can do the lap time, but it's a little bit harder to fight with a slow bike. But what happens today on Friday? We have the winners of the Friday. I have who surprised us on Friday. I have who was in trouble today, and even what do I expect tomorrow to happen. So let's start with the winners of the Friday. Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez. They are on another level. In the lap times, you don't see it so much in the last result. I think Morbidelli was even the fastest today in the second session, which is putting people in P1 in qualifying 1 or 2. But the way Marc Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia did it showed that they had full confidence they were going straight to Q2. They did both their fastest lap time before the end of the session to make sure they don't get in trouble with yellow flags and crashes and then don't have a good lap time. They went pretty early with soft rear tire, put in a time that was really fast, then thinking that's good enough. I go back out with a medium rear tire just to be on the track and learn something. So they were already doing mileage on other tires while the other was still trying to get into Q2 straight away. So special level for Marc and Pecco. So these are obviously the winners of today. But another winner from today for me is Jorge Martin, because he turned up. Starting to ride the Aprilia with the #1 plate as the world champion from last year. We all remember what happened with the world champion of last year. Moved from Ducati to Aprilia. First day of testing in Sepang, like the real first official test from this year, he crashed in the first morning. He crashed actually 2 times, damaging his body a lot. And then he crashed again at testing, trying to be fit to come back. And he's in a whole world of pain and frustration. Now he comes back, but he's not fit. So what he's doing, he's riding around to learn. He still needs to learn the Aprilia with an injury in the race weekend. It's shit, but it's still better than hanging around and waiting until you're completely fit. In the end, he finished like 4 last, but only on 1.5 seconds from the best. This is how close MotoGP is. If you're a couple of months out of the game, you come back on another bike you're still not used. Basically, this is still the first day of testing for him for this year on a completely different bike. Then finishing 1/2 second from the first and having the confidence and the calmness not to crash again and do stupid things. I think that's something brave. So it's a bit weird, the 4 last guy in the standing, but I call him like a winner of today. What surprised us today, or what surprised me, is having 2 KTMs inside the top 10. for a manufacturer like KTM that already months, probably 6-7 months, has done very little development, that's really good. And it shows again that Qatar is a track where there is something for everybody, and the KTM is not a bad bike. It just, they didn't develop quickly enough the last couple of months, and then suddenly you're behind. But it has some strong points. One of them is the engine, actually. So yeah, that's quite a surprise for me to have 2 KTMs in there. Next topic of my list is who was in trouble today. Well, Brad Binder, because we have 2 KTMs in the top 10, but Binder is not one of them. Binder didn't have a really good pace on the medium tire and was time to put in the soft tire. His first run on the soft was okay-ish, but put him only in P10. Now P10, that's not enough. Somebody will jump over you in the last minute. So he had to go out on another soft tire. He tried to follow Marc Marquez to do a good lap time. Clever, you know. 3 minutes ago, but Marc was on the M tire because Marc already done a really good lap time. Marc goes out on a used medium. Binder tries to follow Marc with a new S and still he crashes. That's a show of, that's like silly and a sign of that he didn't really have the pace at all today. That made him like being somebody in trouble there. But the other one in trouble is your fellow Australian, Jack Miller. He crashed twice today, and 2 biggies actually. If we go to the track, he lost the front, braking into turn 4, but not late. He was still upright and braking, so he was more or less out of my screen by the time he was already tumbling. That was the morning session, and later he crashed again, same situation for turn 7, again still upright, locking the brake for too long, losing brake, bike tumbled. This guy's gonna have an all night in the Yamaha Pramac team. So he's in sort of trouble, but he will come back. And because it's possible, Fabio Quartararo is like easy in the top 10 with the Yamaha. The Yamaha can do Qatar. It has 1 year, so that's not America. And Jack's all right, so she should be fine for tomorrow. What do I expect for tomorrow? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but the top 10 will get a lot more close than today. I was a bit surprised that the top 10 today, from 22 riders, was separated by 0.8 seconds. That is in Qatar, with the current state of MotoGP, a wide gap. Tomorrow, everybody that wants to be in Q2 and wants to be in the first front 2 rows have to be in maximum 0.3 seconds. Otherwise, you're not on the first front 2 rows. That's how killing Qatar is. But it's interesting because, like I said earlier, there is something for all the manufacturers. The Honda can be on the front row or the second row. Don't be surprised. The KTM can, but usually all the Ducatis can, that's for sure. But there is a chance for a KTM, for a Honda, and even for a Yamaha to have a good grid position here in Qatar. And yeah, that makes me look out for tomorrow's Saturday session. So tomorrow comes a new update about what happened on Saturday. Thanks for watching.